welcome back to I Studio. It's been a couple of weeks. I'm sorry I haven't been keeping up with you. Chuck and I decided we were just going to take a little break during the Thanksgiving, and we spent our evenings in front of the fireplace instead of coming into the studio and doing art. We just needed a little break after an extremely busy period, and now we're back. So I started on these paintings. I had been prepping 12 panels for weeks, which is probably another reason I was avoiding the studio. Got a little tired of the prep work. It's tedious. But I came back and I looked at the panels, and I was going to gesso all the panels. And I decided that maybe the wood could be an interesting element to the piece. So what you're seeing here that's showing up as beige, that's the wood of the panels. It has been prepped with a golden gloss medium. I put 2 coats on the front, 1 coat on the back and the sides. So it's well prepped, and normally I do like to gesso so that I get that nice bright white area to start with. And this time I decided, no, I could paint the white after the fact. So I really stretched what I like to call the arc of my body, the arc of my movement, all across these 3 panels. And it felt liberating. It was just great. Then I came back, put some florals in, which, as you know, may or may not stay there. And then I just took some white paint and I painted in a background. You know, there are 3 stages to a painting: the prep work, the actual painting, and the finish work. Many people just jump right into the painting and they don't pay attention to the prep work or the finish work, which I think is very important. So then within the painting, once you're actually doing the painting, there are also at least 3 stages, and those are the first day, which this represents, when you just come in and cut loose. Some people call it making a hot mess. Sometimes you make a hot mess. Don't worry about it. Not the first day. That's a day to just really have fun. Express yourself. Show your dance with the piece. The second day or the second session, each session could take more than a day or less than a day. The second session, when you come in, it's about finding the composition and the color palette. This is a difficult time. Sometimes that composition isn't obvious and the color palette isn't obvious. We may have used 20 colors on our first go around, but we don't want 20 colors on the painting. It gets too confusing. We want to hone it down, zero in on the subject. What's the painting about? How does the painting feel? A student asked me the other day, how do you quiet a painting down? Well, a lot of times to quiet a painting down, I block off areas. This was a little unusual start because it actually started out quite well. I like the composition. And when that happens, that becomes even sometimes more confusing to me because the composition then becomes precious. And you're afraid of losing that beautiful, spontaneous composition that you put in. And it's tough because the paint is not enough. You can see areas like this. I've just slopped the paint on. The edges are bad. If I wanted to really keep this composition, I'm going to have to go over the areas I've already painted just to bring up the quality of the paint. But I also have to ask myself, is it enough? And I can tell you right away, I'm going to answer, no, it's not enough. So I'm thinking, what would the next steps of something like this be? And I'm wondering if I might not put some patterning in the background and then cover the patterning back up so that it's barely visible, giving that background a bit of depth. There's a couple of things that I've thought of. I have a stencil, as it were, it's a surfboard stringer. It's wooden, long, like that, shaped like a longboat. And I was thinking, what if I took that stencil all in the background and just penciled it in so it was barely visible, and then painted back over it, did a little sanding? Would it become like waves on an ocean? These are thoughts that go through my mind, and I'm not really going to know until I start. But I was thinking, rather than just having a stark white background, what if it was like undulating, almost like the sea pattern? I love the Asian wave patterns. I love patterning in itself, but sometimes it's not enough to just put on a pattern. I like to put the pattern on, take it off, and so the pattern's barely discernible. That's one thing I'm thinking of. Another thing I'm thinking of is color. What if I introduced hot pink and orange? Wouldn't this be a different painting if I put in hot pink and orange? That's a possibility. There are millions of possibilities. None are wrong, none are right. Some are better than others. Some we can try and we may not like. But if we try them and they don't work, they're still going to enhance the painting because we tried them and they were there. So it can be intimidating to come in and rework a painting, but it's the only way that we're going to push ourselves and push the painting to be the best that it can possibly be. So that's my advice to you. Come in, push the painting. The 3 stages: the prepping of the panels or canvas, the actual painting, and then the finishing work, which is the varnishing, waxing, or however you're going to finish it. The 3 stages of making the painting itself: come in, cut loose, make a hot mess. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. Express yourself, every color in the rainbow. And then second session, you come in and quiet that down. You find the composition and you find your color palette. And the final stage of the actual painting itself is enhancing the painting with highlights, lowlights, glazing, cleaning up your lines, your edges. And then that's pretty much it. Simple. Anyone can do it, right? Okay. So it's been great. I'm going to take you on a little tour of the studio and the 12 pieces that I started. And let me just leave you with the advice that I leave you with every single week. Painting is a practice, and practice makes perfect. Thank you. I'm thankful for you. I was going to make a Thanksgiving video just to express my gratitude for you. But I stayed home with a fireplace instead, and that's okay. I'm back. Have a great week. See you later.